Philip Shaibu, my friend, in all that happened while we were talking about the Edo 14 that were unlawfully excluded from the inauguration, I never mentioned his name. June 17th, when we were excluded, 2019, I wasn't going to forget. He was the one who orchestrated it, together with the secretary to Governor Obaseki. Obaseki was just waiting for them to execute and report back to him. And indeed, like a czar, they reported to him and he was happy. The friendship was just marriage of convenience. And I knew it was going to fall apart because before then, Obaseki never wanted Philip to be his deputy. But Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole, the then governor, was trying to strike a beautiful balance between a technocrat and a politician, both having worked with him, one in the executive and the other one at the legislative arm. And he thought that fine blend would take Edo to the next level, which was what we campaigned with. But the moment he was able to settle that and the party began, which is the government began, Obaseki still suspected Philip. And he went on with that suspicion. When it was that time that he fell out with his boss, which is the then governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole, he saw in Philip a willing tool to bring down his father. And he accepted and he brought him down. Now, a reconciled enemy can never be trusted. In that regard, Philip was an enemy that was to go sooner than expected.
So is it true that the deputy governor, that this could have happened because the deputy governor wants to contest for the governorship election and the governor is not giving him his support?
2024 is coming. The governors usually, as they are, governors generally, we definitely want to, promote a successor. It's natural to be interested. He has seen that Philip is not on the line to be considered as one of his successors. Therefore, and Philip is ambitious. There's nothing wrong in being ambitious anyways. Human beings should be. And I encourage that. However, his boss doesn't want him, but he wants to be there. This is what is happening. And the boss thinks that, okay, if we don't take this out now, it will be something like a cancer that will spread and destroy the party internally. And internal explosion is worse than that, worse than external. And the man is saying, look, you can't contest.
Let me put it very clearly on record that I am not aware of any plots or any scheme to impeach the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Philip Shaibu. I have also checked, and there is no such plan, or there was no such plan. I must state here that Comrade Philip Shaibu has never had the courtesy to discuss his ambition with me. What I hear is that he is consulting. Because the last time we spoke about my succession after the last House of Assembly elections, I did say that we should all be patient and that our task today is to try and finish well, to conclude all the projects we have started, and to unify and consolidate our party. Because it's only when we do these two things right would we have the support from our people to produce my successor. I made it very clear. And like you have pointed out, there's no timetable yet for the Edo elections. It will come later the year. So I believe that this action by him is just a preemptive move to get a court order, keep his position while he now moves to the other party to get a ticket.
This conversation started yesterday. Let's step it up a notch this morning with Olu Martins, who is Executive Director, Canvassers for Democracy and the Rule of Law. He joins us here in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Well, this conversation, about what's happening between the governor of Edo State and the deputy governor of Edo State, it's not the first one is hearing of such in this Fourth Republic, governor and deputy governor having one squabble or the other. But did you see this coming, given how they started?
Thank you very much. Please allow me, first of all, to commiserate with the Edo people. 2 years ago, we lost a shining star. I'm talking about Captain Osa Okumbo. It's exactly 2 years. And I'd like to join the very many well-meaning Nigerians and Edo people to pray that God will grant the family the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, and that God will raise somebody else like Captain Osa. I sort of saw this coming.
Really?
Yes.
How long ago?
Well, maybe from the very beginning.
What were the signs you saw?
Because I was student union president when Philip Shaibu was announced president. 1999, I was student union president, Ambrosia University. He was announced president from the University of Jos. So I kind of have an idea of his capacity. And we're talking about more than 20 years ago. So I kind of have an idea of his capacity. I kind of have an idea of his drive. So I knew that at some point in time, he was going to upscale. Because if you look at his political trajectory, I think he's been one of the luckiest young men, a man of speaking, to have had political opportunities. So I knew that the drive was there. I have a problem with the methodology, right?
Is it a problem of drive now or ambition?
Well, to be honest with you, what drives an ambition, what fuels an ambition is a drive. So he has an ambition. And you can't begrudge anybody for having an ambition. It was Archbishop Idausa that said, if you have a desire, do not retire, but refire to acquire your desire. So it's okay to have a desire. But you must also situate the desire within the ambit of fairness, equity, and balance. Because once you situate it between that, then you can, in expressing it, it's easy for you to express it in such a way that it finds anchor in the souls of very meaning Edo people who are clamoring for anchor. So I have a problem with the methodology. But let me quickly say a few things about what Washington Osifo said yesterday, because he kept making reference to the 14 House of Assembly members, and I can't really sympathize with him. He's pained, and he has a right, to be pained. But it's important to say that he didn't submit himself for inauguration, because he kept saying they were shut out. That House of Assembly, there were APC members who went for inauguration, because it's a mixture between APC and PDP. So it wasn't that it was just a PDP thing and they shut APC members out. There was an Emmanuel Agbaje that went for the inauguration who was in APC. So he quote unquote slept over his own right, because they were sure that Adams Oshomole was going to crush the governor at that time. They're going to have their way, because they also formed a parallel House of Assembly, in some hotel. But so I needed to put that in perspective. Secondly, he called the governor a stranger, and well, that's fine. He's a stranger. Governor is a stranger to how governance used to be done. Today, there are no parties. If you go to government house, it's government house. No court wars. There are no court rivalry right in government house. There are no wild parties in government house. Business is business. In fact, many of government offices have been restructured. So if you say it's a stranger to that, because that didn't happen, he's a stranger, we admit that, okay, maybe it should be a stranger to disrupt a system that is inimical to the advancement of governance and administration as far as Edo State and Nigeria is concerned. But who was more of a stranger? He was 4 years chief economic advisor to Adams Oshomole. When Adams Oshomole came in, Adams Oshomole had never had a stint in governance. He moved directly from NLC to become the governor of Edo State. So Adams Oshomole was more of a stranger. But we like that kind of a stranger who disrupts a status quo that doesn't espouse seriousness. Now governance is serious. You have a governor who doesn't blow siren, who doesn't, you don't see people coming to visit him, to distract him, from office. If you drive into a government house, you wonder whether you are in government house, because the business of governor is now the business, of governance. Thirdly, he said that Edo State was backward, and that grieves my heart, because I didn't think that he should demarket his own state. You may not like Governor Obaseki, but Governor Obaseki is not Edo State. And if you have a problem with foreign media, because anytime they show Nigeria and they want to show Lagos, they will show Morocco, old Morocco. They will show Oshodi, where there is heavy traffic. They will not show what the Atlantic City. They will not show what is married in Banana Republic, the Banana Island, because they create the impression that we are backward. And I don't think that as a former commissioner and as a bona fide citizen of Edo State, he should demarket his own state. A lot is going on in Edo State, a whole lot, and he does need to come and see what is happening in Edo State. Edo State is the only state that is paying 40,000 naira. Edo State is the only place that has its own independent power project, 90 megawatts. What Edo State receives from DISCO is 110. What Edo State is now producing independent is 90. So what it means that when I have 190 megawatts for Edo State.
At what point did they raise?
So I take exception to the demarketing. He can differentiate his argument against the governor away from.
We don't have much time to deal with the real issues here. Governor Obaseki can come and market himself by himself, but
No, I'm talking about the demarketing.
No problem.
I'm a Edo man, I need to deal with that.
At what point did this rift really begin? You said you saw it from the very beginning of the administration. What were the signs you saw? And is it that the governor didn't know that such a thing could happen?
The governor is an institutional person, especially from his World Bank training. He didn't think that if he was traveling, for instance, the governor has handed over power 5 times to Philip Shaibu. So Philip Shaibu has been acting governor 5 times. I'm not sure that there's any governor who has done that. He's an institutional person. He doesn't think that governance is about one person. So there shouldn't be a vacancy. If I'm not there, you should, be there. When you give somebody something that he doesn't deserve, the first time is appreciation. The second time is expectation. Third time is anticipation. Fourth time is entitlement. So because you have a liberal governor, you can imagine this happening in Rivers State. If you didn't, you can't do that in Rivers State now. But you have a decent governor, and then you think that is now your entitlement. So when the governor began to say, we need a level playing field, it is not your entitlement to be governor. Edo North you are currently from Edo North. The minister designates is from Edo North. Adams Oshomole was from Edo North. Ogiadomo was from Edo North. So between 1999 and now, deputy governor and governor, Edo North has had 24 years. I am from Edo Central, and I have what it takes to be governor. And several other persons when the governor began to say, look, we need to have a level playing field and consider those senatorial districts that may have been disadvantaged. I think at that point in time, Philip became uncomfortable.
Before we begin to explore the issue of zoning, let's address the matter between the governor and his deputy. If the governor is telling us that, look, there is no plan to impeach the deputy, and the deputy has gone to court, to lay out a number of accusations, one of which is don't use the SSS to intimidate me, allow me to perform my functions legitimately. Who do we believe between both men?
You should believe. I first of all tell people that for purpose of intellectual rascality, even though the governor has gone on to say we don't want to impeach the deputy governor, but is impeachment such a bad thing, really? To be honest with you, the impeachment clause wasn't put there for decorative purposes. I was student union president. I was impeached. But it was the greatest mistake they ever made, because it is weak people who seek for positions.
Impeachment is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
But the deputy governor is saying that unless in the case of misconduct, you have no right to impeach me.
Yes, it is not the governor that impeaches, Sakma. It is the House of Assembly that impeaches. And the House of Assembly must impeach you. They don't want to impeach you. There must be an offense. What is the offense? Nobody can impeach you because you have an aspiration. So like the governor said, you are crying wolf. You are just trying to be preemptive. And this is not the first time it's happening in Nigerian,
I find it
politics.
interesting. I find it interesting that you said that it's not the governor that impeaches. Really?
It's not the governor that impeaches.
Okay.
By law.
But we know how impeachments go in Nigeria.
any role to play in an impeachment process of his own deputy?
He doesn't have, by law, he doesn't have any role to play.
Okay.
We may infer,
by law,
he doesn't have any role
how
to play.
about by politics?
I don't like to do politics in the sense that I like to follow what the law says. Latin says, res ipsa loquitur. The facts speak for themselves. It's written in black and white. The processes to impeach a deputy governor. And there's nowhere it says that the deputy governor will be impeached by the whims and caprices of a governor, and the deputy governor knows it.
You're saying that essentially there is no way a governor can play any role in the impeachment of his deputy.
Except the governor is tyrannical. Only a tyrannical
So
governor.
how come it is the governor of Edo State that comes out to say there is no such plan and not the Speaker of the House?
Because if you look at the court processes, the governor was first respondent. It was the governor he was referring to. The allegations were against the governor.
The governor
But
is
he must
third
know.
respondent.
He must know something, from the background before he can name the governor as first respondent.
Then he should tell us what he knows from the background, because as far as we know, you see, impeachment procedure is not witchcraft at night. There's a process to it. It doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in a week. The chief judge must constitute a 7-man panel. An allegation must be raised on the floor, of parliament. So let's not look at impeachment as if we're playing the game of what? Last card check up. It doesn't happen that way. There's a process for it. And what is instructional? Just yesterday, the leaders of Edo North visited, the governor, because Philip Shaibu is the highest office holder in Edo North. When they wanted to take over the House of Assembly, Edo people moved to the street in protest for the governor. When Adams Oshomole had the same issue, Edo people kept vigil in the House of Assembly. I would have expected that Philip Shaibu's kit and kin would have come out in their number to support him. They may do that because I've said so now in preemptive arrangement, but not usually. It should be spontaneous. If indeed he has served the people, life is worth living, only to the extent that it is lived to the service of humanity. If you have not served humanity and then you have an issue like this, even if it were true, usually people will just sit back and say, good riddance to bad
Let me quickly follow up with 2 questions. You talked about how Mr. Washington demarketed Edo, and you had reservations about it. But was he wrong on the point about both men being convenient friends at a time, and how the relationship was bound to fall again like a pack of cards because the governor never liked his deputy? Was he wrong about that?
He was. How do you say they were convenient friends? Governor Wike attempted, and for the want of what, to denigrate the office of the deputy governor. This governor took 2 pages in national dailies against his fellow governor, whom they meet at the governor's forum, to defend his governor, to say, this deputy governor, to say, look, the deputy governor has my support to do whatever he is doing, and that you cannot just denigrate the deputy governor like that. When they were seeking for the ticket of PDP, the PDP wanted a trade and say, give us the deputy governor. You can't have the yam and the knife. That meeting took place in Chief Raymond Dokweshi of the blessed memory in his house in Agenebode. And the governor said, look, I came in with this man. We will sink and swim together. I can tell you that is the crux of the rift that the governor has with the party. He says, I must stick with my deputy. Otherwise, the arrangement normally will be, if we are giving you a ticket, we'll give you a ticket. But the party must now supply the deputy governor. And the governor stood stoutly for him. How can that be a convenient arrangement when the governor has demonstrated copiously again and again
so
that I like this young man, and I'd like for us to continue governance for the betterment of the Edo people.
So in trying to understand what is the responsible for the rift now, what is the offense, if I may ask, of Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu, besides aspiring to become governor, succeeding his principal?
He's the only one I can ask, because they say he who alleges must prove. He's the only one I can answer what his offense is, because we too do not know the offense that he thinks that he has committed, for which he is afraid of impeachment. I can't speak for him.
We have to go now, Mr. Martins, but just a quick one. Are you completely vindicating Governor Obaseki in all of this arrangement, that he has no fault whatsoever?
The governor, as far as I'm concerned, the conviviality between the governor and the deputy was obvious to what? The deputy governor in Nigeria is the most visible deputy governor. Shaibu is the most visible deputy governor in this Fourth Republic. No governor has given his deputy the latitude and the freedom of expression as the governor has done. And in fairness is that some people tell the governor that, maybe, it's your fault because sometimes some people don't know how to use such privileges and use it modestly.
The point has been made, Mr. Martins, and one just can only expect that for the love of the people of Edo State, all of this will be dealt with amicably. But we have to thank you for now for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Olu Martins is Executive Director, Conversers for Democracy and the Rule of Law. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Now, your own content on this program this morning, Henry Okeke